In today's show, a major U.S. military buildup near Venezuela, the U.K.'s toughest asylum rules in decades, and a Pennsylvania man shot by his own dog, plus a Jets player critically injured in a shooting, new details on President Trump's $2,000 dividend checks, and the nighttime shower trend that's helping people sleep better. And here's the trivia question. What is the only word in the English language that ends with the letter MT? Let me say that again. What is the only word in the English language that ends with the letters MT? Think about it and see if you're right at the end of the show. It's Monday, November 17th. This is the Flyover Podcast. Welcome to the Flyover Podcast, taking you above the noise for an unbiased, high-altitude view of today's headlines with daily coverage that's honest and refreshing. Let's cruise the news and land the facts. Good morning and welcome to the Flyover Podcast. I'm your weekday host, Ayla Brown. I hope you had a great weekend. It is Monday again. Just reminding you in case you haven't had your cup of coffee yet. Let's have a great day and an even better week and take off with today's biggest headlines. The U.S. military is making a major show of force in the Caribbean. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the most advanced aircraft carrier in the American fleet, has arrived in the Caribbean Sea as part of Operation Southern Spear, the biggest U.S. military buildup in the region in generations. The Trump administration says the deployment, which includes a full carrier strike group with fighter jets and guided missile destroyers, is aimed at a large-scale counter-drug mission, targeting what officials call narco-terrorism. The U.S. has long accused Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro of being complicit in drug trafficking, and he was formally indicted back in 2020 as the leader of a cocaine smuggling network. This buildup also comes after recent U.S. strikes on alleged drug smuggling vessels that officials say have killed at least 83 people. And when asked about possible military action in Venezuela, President Trump said he has, quote, sort of made up his mind. In the UK, the Labour government is rolling out one of its biggest crackdowns on asylum rules in years. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood says illegal migration is, quote, tearing the country apart and undermining public confidence in the system. Under the new plan, asylum seekers who are granted refugee status would have to wait 20 years instead of the current 5 before applying to permanent settlement. Their status would also be reviewed regularly to determine whether their home country has become safe. Housing and financial support would no longer be guaranteed, especially for asylum seekers who could work but choose not to. The proposal is already facing pushback on both sides. Conservatives want faster deportations, while some Labour MPs say the government is becoming too hardline. And in Pennsylvania, a bizarre and terrifying accident landed a man in the hospital. Police say a 53-year-old Shillington man was cleaning his shotgun and placed it on his bed just before one of his dogs jumped up and caused the gun to fire, hitting him in the lower back. Officers found him conscious on the floor and he required multiple surgeries. 2 other dogs and the man's son were also in the home at the time. Police say the shooting appears accidental, but the investigation is still ongoing. More on this in today's show notes. Here's what's happening in politics. Federal agents arrested at least 81 people in Charlotte, North Carolina on Saturday as part of Operation Charlotte's Web, a Trump administration crackdown on illegal immigration. Homeland Security says the operation is focused on, quote, criminal illegal aliens, pointing to the city's refusal to honor nearly 1,400 ICE detainers in recent years. If you're a subscriber to the North Carolina Flyover email edition, you'll be able to read up-to-date information on this story. Just a reminder, the Flyover has 9 different state editions, plus the national one. You can sign up for free at jointheflyover.com. Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene says she hopes she and President Trump, quote, can make up after their latest public rift. Greene defied Trump's wishes last week by pushing the House to release the full Jeffrey Epstein investigation files, something the president wanted delayed. And Trump ally Laura Loomer is stirring up speculation online about a possible primary challenge to Green. She asked her 1.8 million followers on X whether she should move to Georgia, just days after Trump said Green, quote, should be primaried. Here are the podcast extra stories. A frightening scene in New York City. Jets cornerback Chris Boyd, who's 29 years old, is in critical condition after being shot early Sunday morning at a Manhattan restaurant and bar. Police say officers responded to Silace around 2 a.m. and found Boyd with a gunshot wound to the abdomen. The bullet was reportedly lodged in his lung. According to a law enforcement source, the shooting happened during a fight. So far, no arrests have been made and the investigation is still ongoing. Boyd, a Texas native who previously played for the Vikings and spent time on the Texans practice squad, signed a one-year deal with the Jets in March, but has been sidelined with an injury since the summer. The Jets say they're, quote, aware of the situation, but haven't issued further comment. President Trump says those promised $2,000 tariff dividend checks for American citizens aren't coming anytime soon, not before the holidays at least. He confirmed they're now expected sometime in 2026. The idea is to use revenue from the U.S. tariffs to fund the payments and help pay down the national debt. But the plan still faces major hurdles, including congressional approval. Some Republicans have pushed back, saying the focus should be on deficit reduction instead. There's also a legal cloud hanging over it. The proposal relies on tariffs imposed under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, a move now under Supreme Court review. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the checks would likely go to families making less than $100,000, though he clarified that income limits are still, quote, under discussion. And finally, there's a new wellness trend making waves on social media. It's called dark showering. Have you heard of it? The idea is to bathe at night in dim or no light as a way to relax the body and improve sleep. Psychiatrists say reducing bright light before bed helps calm the brain's threat radar and triggers the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the part that tells your body it's time to rest. Bright light, by contrast, raises cortisol and suppresses melatonin, making it harder to wind down. Maybe you've experienced that if you've watched a show at night. Experts recommend dimming your lights 60 to 90 minutes before bed and keeping your shower short, quiet, and screen-free, maybe with calming scents like lavender. Is your next shower going to be a dark one? We still have so much more show to come. Don't go anywhere. We want to thank our sponsors, Native Path Collagen first. Made with only type 1 and 3 collagen, the two types that make up about 90% of the collagen in your body. I love it because it supports so many things like your skin, your hair, your nails, your joints, and your gut without unnecessary fillers. It's a single ingredient formula, third-party tested for purity, and completely flavorless. So just mix it into anything you like. Native Path offers amazing bundle deals, and with this special link, you can grab 3 or 6 packs at the fraction of the price of other brands. I've personally just bought the 6 packs and I have bought them multiple times. I literally use it every day. I love this product and I'm really, really glad that they're one of the sponsors on the show. There's over 4 million jars sold, 1 million happy customers, and a 365-day no-risk guarantee. So go to getnativepathcollagen.com/flyover to get yours today, or click the link to purchase in the show notes below. In finance, Ford CEO Jim Farley says the country is facing a major workforce problem. In a recent interview, he revealed that Ford couldn't fill 5,000 open mechanic positions, even though the jobs pay around $120,000 a year. Farley said it's a sign of deeper trouble in the labor market and the country's shrinking pipeline of skilled workers. A new housing study shows Pittsburgh is now the most affordable major metro area in the U.S. The city's median listing price sits around $250,000, which is more than $150,000 below the national median. Researchers say that despite rising prices nationwide, Pittsburgh has remained a rare pocket of affordability. If we have any listeners in Pittsburgh, hello to you. And with energy costs climbing, some entrepreneurs are turning to a pretty unconventional heat source: Bitcoin mining rigs. By repurposing the excess heat these machines generate, some people are actually warming their homes through the winter. Researchers say the crypto industry produces enough waste heat annually to warm an entire country the size of Finland. Here's what's happening outside the U.S., beyond our borders. Iran says it has stopped enriching uranium across the country following June's U.S. and Israeli airstrikes. Foreign Minister Abbas Arashi confirmed the halt on Sunday, saying Iran is still open to dialogue but won't negotiate under what he called Washington's maximalist demands. He also emphasized that Iran intends to maintain its right to peaceful nuclear technology. In Mexico City, thousands of protesters, many of them Gen Z activists, marched on Saturday against crime, corruption, and government impunity. The demonstration started peacefully but turned violent near the end. Clashes injured 120 people, most of them police, and 20 protesters were arrested. And in Germany, officials have canceled a highly controversial auction of Holocaust artifacts under international outrage. Items like Stars of David, prisoner documents, and other personal relics were set to be sold, but authorities called the auction unethical and exploitative. In sports, let's start with the NFL, where it was a huge weekend for Josh Allen. He racked up 6 total touchdowns, 3 through the air and 3 on the ground. That led the Buffalo Bills past the Buccaneers in a high-scoring shootout. The Pittsburgh Steelers cruised to a 34-12 win over the Bengals in their AFC North rivalry matchup. In overseas in Spain, the Miami Dolphins pulled off a 16-13 overtime victory against the Commanders, thanks to a clutch interception by Jack Jones. It capped off the NFL's first ever game in Spain. And speaking of that game in Spain, Real Madrid's Bernabeu Stadium pulled off a pretty unreal transformation. A new time-lapse video shows how Cruz converted the €1 billion soccer palace into an NFL-ready field. And Commissioner Roger Goodell says the league absolutely plans to return. On the NBA front, the league has reportedly seized cell phones from 2 members of the Los Angeles Lakers organization as part of a sweeping gambling investigation. The individuals involved, according to the report, include an assistant trainer and an executive administrator who have already handed over their phones to the outside law firm handling the probe. In science and technology, a new report from AI firm Anthropic says Chinese hackers used the company's technology to help carry out attempted cyber attacks on 30 major companies and did it with minimal human input. The report says most of the attempts failed, but a small number did get through. Anthropic says the incident shows how AI can speed up both cybersecurity work and cybercrime. Over on X, the platform is rolling out a full replacement for its old direct messaging system. It now includes a more robust chat platform with voice and video calling, file sharing, and for the first time, the ability to edit or delete messages after they've been sent. Here are a few interesting stories for your Monday. In New York, a Brooklyn woman posing as a food influencer has been arrested 5 times since October for allegedly scamming high-end restaurants. Police say 34-year-old Pei Chung dined at upscale spots like Peter Luger and Francais, then refusing to pay, instead offering blog posts as payment. She also flaunted designer fashion on Instagram while running the alleged Dine and Dash scheme. On Cape Cod, a small bluffside cottage that's sitting just 25 feet from a rapidly eroding cliff had its price cut in half, now listed at just $99,000, down from $199,000. The neighboring home, facing the same collapse risk and listed earlier for $239,000, is already under contract. Officials say coastal erosion continues to accelerate along parts of Cape Cod, and you can see the pictures of the houses in the show notes. And spoiler alert, yes, it looks like the houses are actually about to fall. And in Venice, a wild dolphin nicknamed Mimo has become an unlikely local celebrity. I love these stories. He's been lingering around St. Mark's Square since late June, weaving between gondolas, ferries, and water taxis, and kind of delighting tourists in the process. Wildlife experts say Mimo seems perfectly content in the lagoon for now, though the heavy boat traffic does pose some risks. Here's the results of yesterday's poll question that Amy Hess asked you. Do you brine your Thanksgiving turkey? 54% said no, 21% said yes, 16% said what, and 9% said who has the time? If I were voting, I would say, who has the time? And here's today's poll question. Do you find the NFL's global expansion exciting or unnecessary? Here are the different ways you can vote. Exciting, unnecessary, or NFL global what? So, yes, let me answer that. If you did not know, the NFL is actively expanding internationally, adding regular season games in cities like London, Berlin, Madrid, Sao Paulo, and soon Melbourne, while exploring long-term plans for even more global games. Commissioner Roger Goodell says the goal is for all 32 teams to eventually play abroad each year as the league grows its international fan base and marketing footprint. So I think it must be exciting for people in other countries to see and experience American football for the first time. So I will be voting yes. You can vote in the show notes below, and I will read the answers in tomorrow's episode. Today's trivia question, have you been thinking about it? What is the only word in the English language that ends with the letters MT? Well, the word is dreamt. It is often cited as the only common English word that ends with the letters MT. Its base form is dream, and while some derivatives like undreamt and daydreamt share the rare ending, dreamt stands on its own in everyday use. And we hope you feel the same way about the Flyover podcast. We want to say thank you for those who choose to listen to us every single day. And you can catch up on YouTube. You can listen on all other podcast apps. We appreciate when you comment and, of course, share to a new friend who has never heard of our show before. Have a great day. Conquer something great. And I will see you tomorrow for more headlines. Until then, thanks for flying with us.